11 African countries made the top 100 of the 2025 Government AI Readiness Index. Egypt ranked 51st. Africa is not struggling to signal AI readiness. The problem is that the rules do not fit its realities. African nations are increasingly aligning their AI policies with the European Union's AI Act. Even though it is considered a global benchmark, African nations cannot afford to simply copy it. A regulation built to address European concerns cannot be a fine fit for African priorities. At least 15 African countries have published national AI frameworks. But when you examine the policy details, the EU AI Act consistently serves as the reference point. African frameworks become adaptations, creating a version of progress where the race is run on fuel from someone else's judgment. As policy expert Melody Masoni put it, we want to be standard makers, not standard takers. The EU AI Act shapes global standards because the European market is too large to ignore. Multinational companies take the efficient approach, building one product to that standard and selling it everywhere. This makes Europe's floor the world's floor. And this pattern is now playing out across Africa despite its entirely different risk profile. The EU's GDPR in 2016 highlighted data protection risks. No African country was compliant, threatening a $14 billion export industry. African nations later adopted similar laws, but it negatively impacted intra-regional digital trade, especially for low-income economies. Ghana's Data Protection Act of 2012 mirrored European privacy standards, but failed to fit Ghana's social, cultural, and economic context. A 2024 study showed that only 17 of 30 reviewed digital agricultural service providers in Ghana complied with the act. Low public awareness, high compliance costs, and weak enforcement have kept the policy largely theoretical. With AI regulation, a repeat of the script is likely, with added consequences, loose labor protections, innovation stifled by compliance costs, and local languages excluded from the models, shaping how Africans access information. The EU AI Act determines risk by what AI does at the product level. In Africa, the risk starts before that. Africa mines the cobalt that powers AI hardware. African workers label the data that trains AI models. African languages are used for benchmarks while remaining unserved by the systems built on them. 11 African countries have spent over $2 billion on AI surveillance systems. The EU AI Act bans real-time biometric surveillance. But the same technology operates without similar constraints across the continent when sold by vendors beyond EU jurisdiction. In Africa, where 85% of the 900 million working population are in informal sectors, AI labor systems trained on formal employment data cannot be fairly applied. The roadside food vendor and the skilled artisan are invisible to systems never designed to see them. The African Union's digital transformation strategy emphasizes local principles rooted in Ubuntu. It evaluates who benefits, who is harmed, and who is consulted. Rwanda's national AI policy involved over 120 participants. Kenya's AI strategy focuses on data sovereignty and promotes Swahili AI. Ghana developed its strategy through consultations with over 40 local stakeholders. Starting with local context and building outwards keeps AI Africa-centric. A law without enforcement is merely intent. The EU AI Act ignores the resources of European regulators. Africa has only 3% of global AI talent. Foreign consultants understand their own contexts, not African ones. Local startups and researchers can better spot compliance issues that hinder innovation. World-class AI regulation in Africa is not about how closely it mirrors the EU model. The measure is how well it protects citizens, enables innovation, and reflects African realities. Africa's AI governance is at a decisive inflection point. Governments must shift from keeping up to leading. An African-centered standard is not just possible. It is necessary.